founder and director of the Tribe Inc., and she is also an HU alumna. Give it up for Miss Gabrielle Martinez.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much. I don't feel like this is a presentation as much as this is me coming home to family. I am not just a bison, I am a daughter of a bison.
Wow.
So Howard is in my blood, it's in my baby's blood. You can already ask Miss Maria. She already said she's going to Howard. So this is a pleasure. Thank you all so much for giving me your time this morning.
Appreciate you so much for being here. Yeah, so just going back to how Lacey got involved with okay, and so it wasn't even the tribe then, right? You were
Ooh, you
at
knew me
one
back
of
on my
the
plantation days.
right, one of the leading nonprofit organizations. And my neighbor mentioned that Lacey should be involved with the tribe, or well, she said with Miss Martinez, and so we did, and it was completely unprecedented. Like we did not know that she was getting involved with such a dynamic and holistic organization that focused on mental health, emotional health, physical, the physical, and all it's the sexual health, and all of these things, and plus the social interaction. So, it was Lacey and a few friends. So
Wait, I didn't even.
tell us about your work and what this is, what the tribe is.
Okay, so honestly, my work starts at birth. My mom, coming out of Howard, worked for Piven. I don't know if anybody remembers Piven Public Access Network TV in DC back in the day, as an HIV awareness activist. And so I've been doing this work since in vitro, technically. Um, and then as I've gotten older, just being inspired by the selflessness and the service that just came second nature to the people in my family, the people around me. It's honestly in me, not of me, if that makes any sense. Um, and upon graduation from Howard, as many Howard students are, I was a little confused about what it is that I actually wanted to do. I am a child of the John H. Johnson School of Communications when it used to be that. Uh, And what Howard gave me was versatility. It made me laugh in the face of adversity. It taught me a lot. We all know about the haze of the A building. And I think that's the magic of a lot of Howard Bison is once you have survived or matriculated through Howard, you can really survive through anything. Just because of what it takes for us to get there and also what it takes for a lot of us to stay there. I was blessed to be able to graduate in five because I changed my major to the School of C. I had a great time working with my peers at Howard, so much so that they have continued to be my staff going forward with Tribe Information. When I graduated, I started to work for Planned Parenthood. I can say that now, the NDA is over. And and straight out of college, I was, of course, for the Obama Foundation, and then I was recruited to Planned Parenthood, which in the beginning, and uh, it every hero has an origin story, and I will never not mention my time at Planned Parenthood because it really shaped the activist and the person that I am today. Learning to work within issues that should be about us but aren't, trying to carve out the spaces that I could to take up, kind of sacrificing myself. Even shout out to Angelica, my coworkers, and all of us just trying to push a mission within a mission, and hold the well intended accountable, if that makes any sense. And so I started out in the public affairs department at Planned Parenthood and slowly evolved over to the education piece when they needed a nice clean black face to present a curriculum that I did not want to become certified in, which is CLA, Sisters Informing, Healing, Living, and Empowering, which is a CDC evidence-based intervention dedicated and created specifically for Black adolescent girls to prevent unintended pregnancy and exposure to HIV and STIs. Um, And so I didn't want to do this curriculum because I was not trying to be a teacher. I was not trying to be in the classroom. I was trying to be at the Supreme Court fighting. But they made me, this was under other duties as assigned, and it really just changed the trajectory of my life. And it did that in a very slow way. The curriculum is very holistic. The way that you have to be trained, the people that have to do the curriculum also have to look like the girls. That they are facilitating for. And that was a unique experience for me, just as a Black woman or a Black girl, to see that there were curriculums or programs that were dedicated to us, and for our well being. So that was surprising. And as a 20 something year old, to go through a curriculum and have to teach it week after week after week, you cannot help but become empowered yourself. Um, which kind of was to that organization's detriment because I no longer could be the nice black face in the pictures because my face and my presence came with the voice. And after about 2 years of going back and forth with HR and trying to fight for a more equitable space for myself, my program, my participants, my coworkers, my time at Planned Parenthood came to an end. And it came to an end kind of like at a weird time, right when Lacey and them finished their formation conference. It was not 2 to 3 weeks later that I was terminated because I was told that my programs were insufficient and had immeasurable outcomes. And the thing that they cited was during the conference then that I was calling formation. Um, I had African drummers come in and they could not ration out the need for African drummers in African dance class for these Black girls. And so the day after, literally, this is not a fairy tale, this is literally how it works, and I believe that everything that is supposed to be happens for a reason. And the day after, um, started Tribe, I got an email from a past colleague that said, "Hey, heard you got fired, but you need to start your own organization anyway," and connected me to a lawyer for Cadwalader, Wickersham, and Taft, which is one of the oldest organizations, law firms in the country's history, which to me was like, okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's build this organization with the help of the people who make the issues or made the issues historically for us. And I work with a wonderful team, and they believed in Tribe and they believed in the efficacy and the programs that I've already proven that I could pull off. And they fast tracked us and they got us through during a Trump presidency with an organization with a mission that is completely to the point. We are dedicated to the betterment of Black girls. And I picked that because it is a perpetual statement. It is a statement that has no end. And it has a statement that can go and be in any place, any institution, any person, because we can always be getting better. And specifically for Black girls who are always being better for us. Being in all these organizations and at these spaces where I could have reasonably climbed the ladder and the hierarchy and been, a nice talking point right now with, a nice headshot and, a good lace front. But honestly, I could not sell my soul. And that I credit a lot to Howard, right? Because a lot of times what my Howard education came with that a lot of people were not afforded was a cultural competency and professors that also taught with the consideration of my soul, right? And giving me a choice to clarify my values and really understand what my boundaries were personally and professionally, and to also be able to communicate that in a way that is nuanced to some people, but also so necessary. Um, and so Upon starting Tribe, of course, our issues were finding funding. And honestly, I'm going to be honest, I moved in fear. I was afraid to apply to grants just because of the social climate. We started this in 2018. This is going into the pandemic, which we didn't know was happening, but also at a time of a lot of political unrest, social unrest, police brutality. I don't like to highlight that as a time where that was like, oh, police brutality. No, it's always been an issue, right? It was just at a time when people wanted to pay attention. And so where there was this contention for nonprofits, specifically Black-led nonprofits, to be trauma-led. And there's no shade to them, right? There's no shade. That work needs to be done. But I also believe that Black women and girls deserve spaces that are built in joy and that can be not a safe space, right? Because we can never guarantee 100% safety, but a seen space, a space where they can be seen, where they can be thought of, where everything can be intentional. I'm privileged in the sense to say that I went to private school for middle school in Annapolis, Maryland. I am a Chocolate City child, born in Sibley. I live in my childhood home now, but for a time I did grow up in Annapolis, in Maryland, and I got to experience privilege and I got to experience leadership conferences and youth development that was really for white youth and specifically male cisgender white youth. But I still made sure that my mother, my bison mama, made sure that I knew that I deserved those spaces, and those spaces were afforded to me whether she could afford it or not. She sold dinners, my church, all these different institutions, my Howard aunties and uncles supported me so that I could be in these spaces. But I also know that those spaces did not want me and maybe gave me a little bit more trauma than let me stop saying trauma. Gave me a little bit more training than development. Training in how to speak fluent Anglo-Saxon, how to move in a room full of vultures, and how to get what I needed out of those spaces. And so that's really what Tribe and namely Formation is about. It is me taking all of those privileged spots, or what people assume are privileged spots, right? Because sometimes we have the false narrative that like proximity to whiteness means that something is excellent. And just because white people give money to something don't mean it's a good thing, i.e. our president. So we cannot judge those spaces and always say like, oh, my child goes to this school and it's this many white people. That does not mean it's quality. And so in those situations, I've pulled all the best things. I am a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And so I pulled my joy and the love of what I have in my sorority and the great things that that has taught me. However, there are elements to even that present negative things, right? Giving a moment of silence for Caleb. In times where situations where Black people are giving a perceived hierarchy in power, I hate that we abuse it and that we do not um there's ways to protect and project tradition without projecting the trauma, and that is what we're seeing an example of. So when I talk about sorority and fraternity and the necessary like gatekeeping of that history for our girls, I am pulling the best elements. I'm pulling the elements that are undeniable sisterhood and networking without fault. I'm pulling the best elements of nepotism, right? Because we need more Black nepotism. Black people are so afraid of nepotism. We're so afraid to say, oh, I gave my cousin this job. Why? Why? White people do it all the time. That's how they sustain their wealth. That's how, even if they're not qualified, they are Fortune 500 CEOs and presidents, and that is because their daddy was the president, and we are the only ones running from any type of connection or history that means that somebody else made progress for us first. And that's so important. And that's something that I try to instill into the girls. Just quickly to focus on formation, because I can talk about this all day.
Mm.
Um, the Formation Conference has actually, I've been doing Black Girl Conferences since 2014, not under the name of Formation because Beyonce didn't drop that yet. However, in 2016, I did pick up the moniker of the Formation Conference because when I heard that album, I was shattered. I was in tears. And I really never understood how people said music and art can change their lives until I really heard that. Because it was so Black, it was so woman, it was so fierce, it was so unapologetic. And I was really in a space of oppression. Like when I say that, I mean I was on a plantation. It was a pretty plantation. Everything was pink, but it was a plantation nonetheless. And it empowered me so much to be defiant and not defiant really because I was doing what I believe was right and what I know was right, right? But only defiant in the sense of that's not what they wanted me to do. So literally the ideas of us being having immeasurable out I mean of us being immeasurable or insufficient, I rolled that right into the motto for Tribe that Black girls that nothing about Black girls is insufficient. And the only thing that is immeasurable about us is our potential. So that every time that white lady that said that to me clicks our website, I hope she sees her own words and eats them. But Formation has now evolved into a space which the girls call Sisconda. It is hosted at Howard University for this year, 7 days. I went from in 2018 with Lacey and Marley and them with 40 girls over 3 days to now welcoming over 100 girls over 7 days, which is fun and fantastic. But with growth comes new growing pains and stretch marks, meaning that the demand is high. I have over 200 to 300 applications and I don't print one flyer. And that's not a flex. That's me actually like calling the fact that the space is so necessary. It went from being dedicated just to girls in the DC DMV area to now we welcome girls from 23 different states, 67 different cities, and 2 continents. Um, and it is a space that people are seeking. These people do not know me. They don't know me at all. They meet me just like you all are meeting me right now, and they send me their girls and they trust me. And I am so blessed because of it, because now I can say professionally, I am a Black girl magician. I say that proudly because I am someone that walks around providing magic for Black girls specifically, and not providing my magic for other people to like Black girls. A big part of my job is also the education piece and letting people know the real statistics that my girls face. I at Howard University, I am a victim of sexual assault. I was raped twice while I was on campus. And so I speak to that very clearly and not unemotionally. There's therapy, there's God, there's a lot of different things that went into me being able to speak to this. However, I also understand that my situation was not unique. My experience was not unique and it's still not unique. So there's so much work for Tribe to do, even beyond formation and preparing our girls for college readiness. We provide self-defense classes because we tell Black girls to protect themselves, but we don't necessarily tell them how. So we have shout out to Kojin Dojo, a Black owned dojo in Crofton, Maryland, who shuts their dojo down every year to come and bring their mats and show our girls that no matter how big or how small they are, they can flip anybody over that they need to flip over and protect themselves. Also during formation, we have a lot of different cultural pieces that we throw in. So they learn about stepping, they learn about Greek culture, they learn about Howard. We send at least about 3 baby bison to Howard each year out of the tribe, which is a huge flex for me because I've been doing this since 4 years post grad. So that means that I take that as a bigger contribution to Howard than me just giving them like $1,000 a year out of my little scraps, right? I see that as me adding to the legacy and hopefully giving them quality contributors so that, we are always promoting excellence by bringing in excellence that can only be expounded upon, right? Yes, unfortunately, rape culture is rampant on on black campuses, white campuses everywhere. Tribe, we have an initiative called the Safer Campus Initiative that we are searching for funding for. Now that all the titles are gone in the government, we don't know where it'll come from. But it is pretty much a program where we would want to train top to bottom, the president of the university down to the security, about mental health first aid, about consent, about sharing resources with people, the situations you can't handle, because a lot of times things go unreported because the people choose to confide in are not trained properly, right? Or respond properly. And that's not on them. That's on us as a community to be a resource to prepare ourselves for these unfortunate situations. Um, right now, our biggest issue is funding. 2 days, I'm sorry, yes, 2 weeks before the election, we were defunded. And not just us, but every Black girl serving organization in the country that was a beneficiary of a promised grant called $1 billion for Black girls that was created in the wake of George Floyd and not Breonna Taylor, oddly enough. But all of these companies pledged all this money and they gave all these grants to all these Black girls serving organizations, and poof, they said, "Oh, you finna be president? Y'all don't need no more. Y'all good. You're clearly empowered enough." And yeah, they yanked that money right back. And so now what we are working on is, one, when I applied to that grant, I thought I was applying to a Black control fund, which it is. Dr. Monique Kusin, the author of Push Out, is the director of that fund. However, it is still white dollars um, that are conditional, right? And what I have told my girls, what I've told my board is that I cannot do anything with white tears. I can't drink them. I cannot water flowers with them. I cannot build anything of substance with them. And so I would rather not, as an organization, take federal funding from the government, one, and two, we don't always engage in all of the grants and things that people want us to. And that's because we have a cultural competency clause. And I've worked for Girl Scouts, I've worked for all kinds of organizations, and I've seen the soul sucked out of them because of the things that they are asked to do and sign on to do for funding. I will stay the sole employee of Tribe and teach on the side and do everything else that I can to survive and take care of myself and my kid, um, before I ever compromise the integrity of the program, compromise the image of my girls, or even what we are trying to build, because Black girls deserve something that is authentic to them, and that's bigger than me, right? That's going to be something that's something that's written into our documents. That's something that whoever is my successor is going to clearly understand, because we can't have anything else we can't have anything else compromised, right? Unfortunately, we've seen Howard be compromised by things. We've seen NAACP and all of our Black leaders and organizations be compromised by funding and opportunities, right? This will be that one beacon of light that is like, no. And does that mean slow growth? Absolutely. But does that mean growth that is sustainable? Yes. That means growth that I can count on. That means growth from um seeds that I plant now. I have over 2,000 girls right now in our network. And while they're all not of donor age and prospects now, they will be when they get older and when they are successful, and they will make sure that this continues because they see the value, because they are the value of it, right? And the age range for the program, for formation, the girls can be 12 to 18. But for Tribe, we try to do programs for girls 0 to 21. Miss Maria is downplaying her part in this hero story because she gave me my first spaces. She gave me my first office. Tribe was started at Woodridge Library. In those study rooms, me and we had our first board retreat in those study rooms. We had our first program, the Ruby Bridges Literacy Academy, in those rooms. And I still go there. She saw me a few weeks ago in those rooms because rather than buy an office space and have all this, like, this is my house, right? All this cosmetic things to make us more legit to folks. I'd rather focus every dollar that I can to my program and to my girls, right? We've had a lot of opportunity for celebrities to come, but celebrities come with writers. So, for example, last year, Angela White, aka Black China, she was going through her metamorphoses and she was changing, and she's a Chocolate City child. So I was like, yeah, come talk to the girls about this and about the things that you're saying. And she agreed, but then it came with like a $40,000 rider. And while, like, yes, that would bring notability and our social media likes would go up and all those things. However, with that same $40,000, I could bring 40 more girls. Right. And so I got to pick cause over cost. Right. Like, my efficacy will always be more important to me than my celebrity. Does that mean to our detriment sometimes? Absolutely. Does that mean that I am not on, featured in Howard Magazine, even though I have hosted this program at Howard every year that I can? The first fundraised dollars to my organization went to Howard. And it's just like, I'm very much still fighting Howard at this day, Miss Maria, if I can be 100 with you all. Howard is charging me $100,000 to come back this year. And that is after last year turning the lights off on us, meaning not just the lights in the building, you all. Have you ever not seen the clock tower lit? Yeah, it was very scary. I was on the yard with 145 Black girls. Actually, we were in Blackbird eating dinner, and the lights went out, air conditioned, elevators. Handicap accessible girls had to be carried down the steps by the group. All kinds of craziness. And this has been like years and years and years. If we had tried to continue to cover up for Mother Howard, if that makes any sense, and make sure that the girls have the best experience without realizing the fires that I'm constantly putting out. So much so that I've had to climb through windows in Douglas to get into a space that I've rented and paid for because there was nobody there on a Saturday to open the door. I have had the keys to Blackburn because nobody was going to be there to open it for me. And they said, well, look, if you want to come in, you might as well just open the door for yourself. I feel
Okay.
intimate. What'd you say?
No, I wanted to stop you because we want to kind of go back and then we want to have time for questions. But no, we're not covering for Howard. Everyone on on this call understands the dichotomy of Howard University, okay? Because there's the admin and then there's the faculty, students, and the alumni. So it's two different Howards. But I want to go back just to a day in the life of the tribe. Can you just give us a day in the life of the tribe, okay? And what that means, like what Lacey and them experience and what the girls, because I know it's evolved even from then. Just tell us about it, and then we can open up the floor for questions as well, okay?
This year, our theme is stellar because I want to go to space because Earth is ghetto. And so we are going to Planet Sisconda, and usually I have the schedule packed from 8 a.m. to about midnight every year. And Lacey and then will tell you, ain't no sleep information. Miss Gabby keep us up. There's somebody talking to us at every minute. Um, and just listening to my baby girls and listening to what they've been, going through this last year and how they're feeling. This year we're taking it a little bit slower and we are focusing on self-care, self-preservation, and self-esteem, right? Self-assurance. Because what they're hearing and what they heard during the election was a lot of terrible things about Black women and one of the most excellent Black women walking this planet. So if you are a 14-year-old girl with pimples and no degrees, imagine how you feel when the world is saying that Kamala Harris is not enough. And so a lot of people are not thinking about what that does to us internally, and specifically the Black girls. We've seen a lot of Black women talk about having rest. And so this year, I'm giving my girls a little bit of rest, right? We will not, so they'll wake up, they'll have options to get breakfast from 8 to 9:30. They can go into their dorm, they stay in the dorms. We stay in College Hall South. That is what cost me $100,000. And it's not worth it. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, it's not. If I could go anywhere else, I would. But they wake up at Howard, they wake up at Howard in the dorm. They get breakfast. They go up to Blackburn where they'll go into workshops. So our day one workshops will be identity workshops, so just working on values clarification, who they are, how they want to show up, what parts of their identity are actually valuable, or the most valuable to them. And this is all facilitated by another Howard alum, Dr. Jeree Ogden, who was my big sister at Howard, who has been a facilitator and a helper at Tribe for the last 6 years. Um, and then they'll go through another series of workshops, financial literacy. They'll be broken into age groups. So our juniors and seniors will have college counseling and work on their essays and writing samples. Our sophomores and freshmen will start working on their resumes and prepping for college. Not but like what they could be doing during college. Our middle school girls go through a hygiene and niceness workshop, because I don't know if y'all know, middle school girls are actually the meanest. Not the big babies. It's the middle schoolers. They're terrorists. But we do those things and then we'll have lunch. What is lunch, y'all? This is the biggest part. I have cooked for this conference the last 5 years. This year, I'm trying not to cook now. We are going to try to get as much donated and catered as possible, so that I'm not running back and forth from my house across the reservoir with pasta pans. Um, then we will have line dancing class. I know this sounds funny, but I'm so serious. We're having a line dancing class because I want to learn where them fans at, right? But I want to learn it with all of my girls. And what people don't also understand is that line dancing is so ancestral. Black people have been dancing in unison, stepping in unison since Africa and the continent. And it is such a synergy building activity, and you depend on the people around you to be in step. And it just will do so many things for our girls that, and a lot of people don't have family reunions no more, so they don't know. We got to keep the recipes. um After that, we'll go to our rooms for a refreshment period. That's something that we add in, where the girls are forced to drink a bottle of water, have a snack, journal, wash their tails, because I don't know if y'all been around a bunch of teens for days. It gets rank. Um, and they're going to get dressed in all black because we are blessed to have the Smithsonian to ourselves for the evening. And we will be going to the Blacksonian, which has become the second home, to the girls that tried. Funny story, I will never forget being in the museum with Lacey, and she's like just casually walking through. She's like, "Oh, that's my grandfather," and we're like, "Huh? What? That that's your grandfather?" And she just casually walks away. Cool flex. Y'all cool on that, Maria. Y'all cool on that. They'll go to the museum, and we have the privilege of having the museum to ourselves. Usually, a museum full of 20,000 people will only have me and my babies in it, and it is very scary. I do have to run the museum, meaning I have to go and turn the lights on and off in different exhibits. But we love the museum staff for letting us do it for the low, for the free, long as I turn the lights on and off. Again, kind of like a Howard deal. It's really ghetto. But it's a great time. The girls enjoy it. They get to see the entire museum intimately, right? Like usually you're fighting other people, white people, and honestly, I feel like when you're experiencing that first floor, you really need the time to do it with people that look like you. It is a very unique experience. It can be informing to some of the girls who don't have like that much access to Black history and things like that. And so just to be able to walk through it with their tri-aunties and their sisters, and to be able to experience the full museum so that they feel intimately educated about it, it feels like their space. We'll come home, they'll have meetings with their different tribes, plan and plot, get ready for the step show. And then I say, lights out at 11 o'clock. Then usually I get about 55 text messages begging for an hour extension and another hour and another hour and another hour. And so they usually stay up until about 2 or 3 in the morning. And it's so great only because they're not on their phones, they're not watching TV, they're literally just in the hallway with their doors open, 100 girls just sitting there talking, looking at each other, having interpersonal conversation, you know what I'm saying? Looking each other in the eye, doing something that is so revolutionary for this time, this day and age, but it is so impactful for them. And by the time on Sunday, they're crying, they don't want to leave, they don't want to leave each other, and they realize how unique of a space it is and how different their actual realities in the real world is. Even for the adults, it's always a couple of days for us to transition back out of cisconda, but it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
That is just amazing. And when she says this, you have no idea, but these are the experiences that she provides. And this needs to be supported. So I wanted to open up the floor for questions because we don't have much longer. So folks, if you want to come off mute to do that, sorry about that. I don't know, folks be calling. Please do so. Miss Gabby and her team just this is what it takes. This is what it takes. I remember a long time ago, my friends and I did from Howard, we did a small rites of passage program. This was way before Lacey was born. So I look at this as evolving. I look at that. You're evolving what we did and taking it a step further. It's the next generation, and we totally, totally need that. So, you know, how can we support you? Are there any questions? Um, Somebody said a beautiful
Questions?
itinerary.
Thank you so much,
Questions.
everybody.
How do you do it while we're
Um,
wait? Oh, there you go.
oh, sorry. Hey, how you doing? So I want to first say thank you for sharing everything that you share. I do appreciate it. I don't know if this like a sign or what, but I am in a new role at Howard Community College. I'm the director of social workers, um, at Howard Community College. So it's still been developed as a new role. However, within the last 4 weeks, and I know I don't want to specifically focus on this part of what you stated today, but I think it's important to share because I think it'll be beneficial if we connect. You had mentioned what transpired on campus, right? So within the last 4 weeks, like I was telling Maria, I was dealing with an emergency this morning because within the last two to 3 weeks, um, students have came and disclosed that they was sexually abused at a younger
Mm.
age. For some reason this week it hit me harder than the previous weeks. Maybe because the people looked like me, right? So it's still a road that I'm developing. I did reach out to my VP to see what can we do. Because I do know that it can happen to both genders. But that's just one part. So I do want to appreciate your bravery on that, and I'll get your information regarding that. But another thing that you had mentioned, I wanted to know because another student had reached out to me that she's a part, so we have a Black president at Howard Community College. So she's in a position where she feel like her voice is not being heard, but she also don't want to lose her spot at the table. So I guess my question would be like, how did you develop this sense of pride within yourself in order to remove yourself from these spaces that you felt like you wasn't wanted or they did not appreciate you at these particular tables? And I'll get your information later to connect because I think it'll be beneficial too. Not specific.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Number one, thank you for your work. Social workers make the world go round. I am contemplating getting my MSW and PH. I really want to. I want to go back to Howard, but they get on my nerves. So I don't know if I want to give them the money. Uh, but I want to also say I can't take credit for that. I was so oppressed. Um, Honestly, it was parents like Maria and Quanta and other parents that like kept telling me that what I was doing was quality, because I was not hearing it internally. And I came home one day. I want to hate to shout out this day, but it was the day Kate Spade died. I was in the process of planning the conference. I crowdsourced, even though I was at these nonprofits, I crowdsourced my entire budget for these conferences. They never gave me any money for them, right? So that alone was resistance just because they told me I could do it, but with no funds, right? So that I could take a little bit of persistence credit from that. However, the day Kate Spade died, I had a meeting with the team and everyone asked me, what can we do to help? And everything I asked them to do, they did not want to do. And they literally said, "Oh, I don't really feel like doing that. Can I do something else?" And I was just like, "Nope, don't worry about it. I'll handle it." And these white women were crowded around a cube and they were just crying and lamenting about Kate Spade killing herself and like what that meant for them and like how they were so impacted and how she was so impactful in their lives. And I got up and I said, "You know what? It is fucking o'clock. I'm going home. I'm going home to take care of myself because clearly people kill themselves for less." And I walked out. And that's no shade. I'm not trying to be in the oppression Olympics with Kate Spade, but that woman had millions of dollars and really no cares in the world. And I'm sitting here making $30,000 a year living in Washington, D.C., struggling, trying to make this conference happen. And y'all are completely ignoring what I'm going through. So I have no allies here. I have to take care of myself. I came home and I talked to these people. You can't see clearly, but it's pictures of my ancestors. And I went to my altar and I said, "Y'all, move me because I cannot move myself. I could not bring myself to quit. I cannot say that I was that brave." I kept asking my good Black mama, "Mama, can I quit?" And she kept saying, "No, you get fired. You need your severance. You need your insurance. You got money in there, right?" And I was just like, you know what I mean? But who wants to go and perform terribly to quit, right? And so what I did do was not perform terribly. I did what I was supposed to do and what I wanted to do. And that last conference was the blackest conference that they had ever seen. I had big Black men in African print banging on drums. I had Black people praying, pouring water and libations in that crazy ass conference room. I did it all, right? And that literally set them off. Me just being authentic and staying who I was and staying the path really just made everything else align. I don't think I was fired. I say I was moved because I asked for that, right? I knew I needed
Wow.
to leave that space, but I knew that I was not capable myself to do it. And that's worldly stuff, right? I hate to be spiritual, but that's me and my own physical weakness and my own vanity of being, of quitting that good government job, that people say and all those things. And also being afraid that my network wouldn't come with me. I didn't know if people liked me or if they liked the pink t-shirts, right? But I had to trust them. I had to trust myself. And I had to trust the fact that I was suffering. I was suffering physically from my health, from being stressed out and being there. I was suffering mentally. I was suffering emotionally. I didn't really have time for friends. I was working 7 days a week and trying to prove something to some people who I was never going to prove anything to because they already believed everything they believed about me, right? So what I will say to you to tell her is trust the movement. Trust whatever push and pull that you are getting because nothing is by mistake. Everything is by design. It just might not be your design.
Beautiful. I love that the drummers like did all that. Drums are very powerful, and that's why they're constantly trying to get rid of them in Brooklyn and all in these public spaces. Use the drums, people. Use our
Yes.
drum. We're going to go
Yes.
to Erica England. She has the question. Yes, Erica.
Hi, thank you so much for being on. I definitely want to connect with you as well, like Saquon said. Um, I wish so much that and I don't know when you graduated from Howard, but
2011.
2011. Okay, okay. Um, I was originally class of 2013, and I just wish so much that I had had a space like this when I was at Howard. I was also sexually assaulted at Howard, and was just struggling a lot my freshman year at Howard, which made me leave Howard. And then but I always knew I was going to come back and graduate. And spaces like the Capstone Group is a big part of the reason where I found support and was able to graduate from Howard. So this really is just good ground, and I'm always wanting to connect with folks that are doing that work and creating safe and like fertile ground for us to flourish. So I want to just say thank you for that.
Yeah, and I'm
My
so proud of
question,
you.
thank you, thank you. It was look, it was rough. That A building.
Still
I
rough.
yes, it was really rough. And I also just have goals and dreams of like being able to like crowdsource for like more housing at Howard, because that was something I really struggled with. Um, Dealing with like not having a place to sleep. And I know a lot of other students have dealt with that as well at Howard. Um, but our network is really strong, and we really support each other. There's lots of students that I would also give gratitude and space to, like that helped me graduate as well. Because I don't, in my experience at Howard with like the students and the faculty and the alumni, I don't see some of that like backbiting that I see at white institutions. Like
Mhm.
everybody is trying to like, you know, make sure that they're better than everyone else. And when I tell you, if I was like running late or if I needed notes, there was always someone there to make sure that I had it what I needed, whether it be a professor or a student. And it's like there's like this space of like we're not gonna allow each other to fail.
Mhm.
And I see that so much in your organization, just from what you shared. Like I see that like we're not gonna let each other fail. We're not gonna let each other fall. I just wish I had this space when I first got into Howard, especially the freshmen coming from North Carolina, um, living like in a smaller town, and just wanting that and needing that and like not being able to find it at first. And I think when I came back, I had a lot more I had a little bit more life experience, and then I had more of an attitude like that I'm coming and I'm going to get everything that I need and everything that I'm owed, and I'm going to pour into this ground because I know it's good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a lot of people, even a lot of moms, comment that they wish that they had this experience before, when they were young. I wish I had it. That's why I made it. Like, I think we all know that how important it would be if we had a space that actually let us focus on thriving instead of surviving.
And just to say, we can all become involved with the tribe and other organizations, and we can all, even if we donate $10, that will help. Okay, Helen.
Listen, we made our first conference off of begging people for $5 every Monday on Facebook.
Okay, and we're going to talk about that more. We're going to go to Helen Higginbotham right next. Right next, she's coming here from Howard Alumni Association. I mean, wait, did I say it right, Helen? HAU. Yeah.
AJU.
Yeah, AJ.
Howard Alumni United.
Howard Alumni United. Thank you, Raina. Yes, Helen.
All right, I'm gonna let y'all see my face, but I really shouldn't. I look like hell. But we all I'm not
Helen,
because you're recording this.
never, Helen.
Anyway, I
Yes.
just wanted to say, Gabby, thank you so much for the work that you're doing. The enthusiasm that you share, that you have, and the fight that you have. I put in the chats. I'm always in the chats on these things, but notice that one where I put the meme of the woman walking away. Yeah, that's what I did when I left my last job. That's how I left them. But I'm just saying we have to protect our peace. But what I'm really coming on is to tell you that I have an organization called When Black Women Gather, and I would love for you to come. We meet online every Sunday, virtually, and I'm always looking for guests such as yourself to come. It's an intergenerational conversation between Black women, and I am so certain that you have a story that we would want to hear. And Erica can speak to the fact that when you need help, we kind of show up. So
Most
I invite
definitely.
you. I invite you to connect with me through Maria or Claudette, everybody. Well, I see your information there. So yeah, so I'll take that and I'll be reaching out to you to be our guest soon.
Thank you so much.
This is what we do, y'all. This is what we do. I love HU. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Gabby, let me ask you something. So what do you need? What does the tribe need? If
Food.
food? So
We
you,
need food and we need capital to get this bill down. Howard, I'm trying to negotiate a better rate. My parents and my girls have collected a stream of videos to send to President Vincent to plead our case for more support from Howard. Yeah, I'm gonna be 100. For the last 5 years, I have contacted Howard's tour department and everybody in the A building, and they have never shown up. For the last 5 years now, going on 6, I have personally given tours. Me and my friends that are alumni that reply back to give tours to show Howard off. So even the smallest thing, if it's not about donating, if it's not about connecting us to somebody who might donate, I would love if you all would come and give my babies tours. Share your experience with Howard. Share what you remember falling down this step and how embarrassing. All those different notes make it so personal. It makes such a space that can seem so exalted and far from you so much more home. And so that also just sharing and liking, you all have no idea how impactful that can be just even in the spread of our information. A lot of times people see a post and they like it, but they don't actually interact with it. And that is our bread and butter, specifically Black organizations and Black girl organizations. We spent last year being shadow banned because we made a post about Black Lives Mattering, and we literally had to contact Meta to get cleared off of a terrorist list. And it's crazy, but we really do need that kind of support. And if you know a Black girl that could benefit from knowing that Tribe exists, please, please, please let her know, let her village know, let her mama, her auntie, whoever, got that influence know. And then also we have merch. Protect Black girls. You can get all the merch on our website. We also have a special village t-shirt campaign that we're running right now, that I will share the link in the chat in a second, that we're trying to raise money to close this gap for formation. Unfortunately, for this year, we had to ask our girls to contribute monetarily, which bothers me. While we have some parents that are like, "Oh, Miss Gabby, I'll give you $5,000. You got it," but that is not everybody's story, and I don't like to make. I don't want this to ever become a situation of the elites can come into this space. I want everybody who ever wants to be in this space to be in this space. So our girls are fundraising via Double Good. They're fundraising via all kinds of social media, things like that. So if you see somebody that is talking about formation or tribe, support them. Yeah, we really live off the village model that it takes a village to raise a tribe, and everybody is a part of it. Whether you are a librarian, whether you are a nurse, whether you are a police officer, whether you are an auntie, everybody is involved in this, and we all benefit from Black girls. So let's give Black girls some benefits.
right on. We have to because we are Black girls. We were Black girls, and we're gonna have Black girls, and we got auntie, nieces, and all kinds of folks, right? We have to. Black girls make the world go round.
Period.
So,
Maria,
yeah,
can we ask how much it costs for a
please.
person to participate? How much per?
Thank you for
Costs
that.
$600 per girl.
Okay.
And that covers the entire week. That covers their t-shirts. Everybody wears t-shirts the entire time because I don't like to have like that equity piece about who has on what. It covers all of the food. There's nothing for the girls to ever pay for during the conference. Even the gift shop is closed at the museum when we're there. So we just try to make it all cover everything. They don't have to ask for anything, snacks, all of that. That $600 only covers a portion of the dorm, though. It does not cover all the rest of it. If the true cost of the conference per girl would be probably about 1,500 per, then I wouldn't have to do any fundraising if it came 1,500 straight for them. But I would never in my life ask parents to pay $1,500 for a week. I know that other spaces are way more expensive and other camps are more expensive, but I'm more about taking barriers down instead of placing them. So formation will never cost more than what it costs right now. And that's something that my board and I have already put into our bylaws. And so that means like this year, because of the cost difference at Howard, instead of growing the amount of girls, I had to take the amount of girls back and only do 100 instead of doing 140 so that we would not have to raise that price.
So how many, Higginbotham says, how many girls in the program? Like, how many would you take at one time?
So the amount of girls that are accepted and are already coming and waiting for me right now to
Yeah.
say, let's go, is 100 girls. And then there are 12 tribe leaders. So tribe leaders are my girls like Lacey, who have graduated in the program and they're now in college. And they come back and they are the camp counselors for the year. But they're not just typical camp counselors. These girls work from January to June, being trained and certified in youth mental health first aid, leadership development, positive youth development, adultism, and different like forms of communication and youth engagement. So they are well equipped to handle teenage girls. And some of them, this will be their fourth and fifth year coming back as being a part of the formation family, whether it's 3 years as a participant and 2 years as a tribe leader. One girl, Thais, this will be her seventh formation, and she is now gone from being a participant in middle through high school through college. She graduates from Virginia State this year, so excited to go to graduation. And then she'll come and be my first staff member, girl turned staff member for the conference. Some other tribe leaders go to Temple. Jonetta, she's
Janetta.
graduating, so I got to
Yep.
go to that graduation.
That's
I'm
right.
excited about that. My other tribe leaders come from Howard, Hampton, Morgan State, Towson, Boston University, and Spelman College.
Amazing, amazing. We're just about out of time, guys. We have put in the website in the chat. Yes, and Raina says so we could sponsor one of the participants.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We have, and even if I'll say this, something that I'm playing around with, we have girls from so many different little small cities. I would love to, just like we would do for Howard, if they came from your city, for people to like connect with them and show them some kind of support, just like understanding where they're coming from. Or even if you wanted to specifically know, like, hey, you got a girl coming from Jersey, I want to sponsor her, we can do that too. We connect you with the girls because we want you to know and see what you're investing in and stay connected with them. You know what I'm saying? Never know what kind of relationships you all can develop as their supportive aunties and uncles.
All right.
Yeah, thank you for everything that you're doing. I mean, we can also see just by I like took a good look at your website, which is beautiful, by the way. But you also have so many other touch points, whether you're talking about like literacy or mentorship or healing or workshops. I mean, you're just doing incredible things. So just thank you for what you're doing for our community.
Thank you so much. And it is $600 per participant. And a lot of the girls are doing great right now that are fundraising for our double good. If they raise $900 in their double good, that takes care of their fees. And about two of them are already done, and they're going past that with the intention to raise money for their sisters, which warms my heart, makes me very, very happy. And my village is strong, y'all. Like, we survive off of the village. This is not a federally funded. I can't give one grant any credit for it. It is literally 100% village supported.
Wow. Okay. We gotta keep on doing it and even more. So who's volunteering to be a tour guide with me? I've already told Miss Gabby that. I
I
told you that.
volunteer.
I know. Okay, good. That's two. Who else? Can anybody else?
We're going to need y'all on June 22nd. It's a Sunday.
22nd. Okay. Okay. The 22nd. Okay. As long as I'm back, boom. I'm putting it down.
Okay.
June
22nd.
22nd.
Okay. All right. All right. Raina, it'll be fun to volunteer with you. Good. Well,
It sure
thank you
will.
so much. I'm going to turn this meeting over to Miss Claudette Johnson-Berry, who is the president of our board. Thank you so much, Gabby. Thank you, everybody who is in attendance here, for just being engaged and just being hands-on and being forward-thinking and open-minded and supportive and embracing the Nguza Saba, because that's really what we need in order to survive and thrive in these rough, rough times. We got to. If we don't keep this organization alive and the Capstone Group and HAU, they will go away. And that's all. So,
Yes. Thank you all so much again. I'm so excited to connect with all of you. Maria, I put my information in, but feel free to give it to everybody.
okay,
Thank you
beautiful.
so much for your service. Maria, can I ask a super fast question? I know
Of
we're a little
course,
over
Miss
time.
Tisha. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yes. One, I want to thank you for this beautiful program, and God willing, I would love for my girls to participate. I know for this year it's pretty much done, but I'm going to have it front and center for next year. And my
How old,
daughter is
how old are they?
14. I have a 10-year-old and a 14-year-old.
Okay, here I got one spot left. For the conference this year, I'm putting the application in the chat. Oh, wait, I typed that wrong.
Okay. Okay.
Have her do it, and then when she puts in there where she learning from, tell her to put Capstone, and I'll pull her application. Because I just told y'all that's how nepotism works. We
Okay.
Oh
have
my
to use
goodness,
it.
that's amazing. And I had another question. I wanted to know what are some good resources? Because with everything that's going on with well, my daughter's not on social media, but just having the phone, friends, and different influences. What are some good resources and like things I could share with her that we could work on together if you have any information like that as well?
Absolutely. So when you become a part of the tribe as a tribe mama, ask Maria. We go in. We got the
Okay.
opportunities there. Understand that authentic engagement is not popular for Black girls. To say that I have a list of resources would be an absolute lie, because there are not many that are dedicated to us. We have very
Yeah.
small resources that we continue to use because they're trusted and we put them through the test. But I would definitely love to offline with you. When she is in her application, when she puts her application in, we'll actually have an interview. She and I will talk, and we will assess all of those things. And if there is something that I know of that she will benefit from, she will get it. We also have a Discord with our entire village and all of the girls that have ever been in the program. And so we really work off of that model of no gatekeeping for Black girls, right? So if one girl learns about an opportunity and she don't qualify, the last thing she's going to do is skip it. She's going to share it with her sisters to make sure they give the opportunity, even if she doesn't qualify. So that's how a lot of the things that we find out happen. It's really just us being a collective and looking out for each other.
Gabby, thanks for bringing
Thank you
that.
so much.
Having that Discord channel is going to become pretty critical. We may also want to consider that because social media, they're doing things just to our cell phones right now. They're running applications in the background. A lot of people this week were complaining that their devices weren't working. And when they came back up, there's programs being run in the background. So meeting in spaces like this, which we are paying for on Zoom, gives us a little bit broader reach. But we may want to consider doing Discord, and I wouldn't close my door on 100 people yet because I see Helen, and I don't want to call her out, but Helen's about to blow up with the Black Women's, when Black Women's Gather network. So I think you need to talk to her offline before you close that door. And we're small but mighty. We've got a lot of talent in this room and we get a lot of things done. So we're the little engine that could. The Capstone Group, we have a lot of in-kind services, a lot of skills in this organization, a lot of networks that we can reach out to. So our bank account may not show it like yours, but we have impact. So I think this is an
Listen,
excellent opportunity for us to work together. Maria, thanks for bringing Gabby to the group here. And let's see how we can keep our village growing because we're going to have to be looking at us to sustain ourselves over the next several years and decades to come.